So I recorded this entire video and then I went to listen to it and I realized my mic was dead. So it was 50 minutes of video, no sound. What? What's up, YouTube? As you can see in the thumbnail, I got a bunch of animals. So this video in particular is going to be about all the bearded dragons that I got in December. This is only December. It's ridiculous. So some of these are trades, a couple of these were purchases, but let's look at it. You can kind of get an idea of where I'm trying to lead my collection into. I have realized that, you know what, let's grab the first dragon. So we're gonna start off with this girl here. Now you're gonna really, every single dragon that I've gotten this month hates me. No idea why. I guess they're taking a little bit to get to know me. I don't know if they're just not used to the melanin in my skin, but they're just not liking me at all. And literally, there's probably only one out of all the dragons that I got that actually like me. So that's kind of scary, but it is what it is. So the first one here, she's already a little agitated, but this one here is a hypo citrus essentially. So she does have a little bit of blue barring. I'll bring her closer to y'all, and you can see that she is yellow. And yeah, hypo citrus. Now I'm sorry for the bad lighting. There you go, getting mad. I'm sorry for the bad lighting. I have no space right now because I'm still doing the drywall mud. So I've moved everything around to get to the places that I haven't done yet. And that's caused a bit of a clutter into that area over there where I was filming before, where the lighting was good. So now I'm stuck in this area where the lighting's not as good. And there's also an echo because the storage area is right above me. So I apologize for that. You know what? Maybe I'll just take her. I think there's a room over there by the photo box. So maybe I'll just bring everything over there. So let's take everything over there to the photo box and I'll do the video over there. And then we'll meet back over here and I'll kind of give you a general gist of everything, why I got it, what my plans are, and obviously my outro. So let's go do that right now. So as you can see, the colors now are a whole lot better than they were before in the lighting that I was just at. But this again is a hypo citrus, hypo yellow. Technically, this one has some oranges to it, so I can just say citrus just to be safe. And you can see there's a little bit of blue bar coloration coming out of this one. This is a female. I'm about to show you her sister. Her sister is essentially almost exactly identical, plus a little bit of extra things. Now, I know I mentioned in a previous video that I was trying to get translucent out of my yellows. Well, I couldn't pass up on this girl. She is very, very, very vibrant. She also looks like she has a little bit of striping down her back there. She is actually the one that likes me, so that was just more so me just touching her in the photo box. This is the first time they've been in the photo box, so they're not used to it. So this here is a hypotranslucent citrus blue bar. And again, she does have a little bit of color striping down the back there, which is normal. Honestly, it's becoming more and more normal nowadays, the color striping and the genetic striping. So actually, this girl, now that I'm looking at her in this lighting, which they've been here probably a week or two, and I'm kind of just letting them get used to me and everything. So I haven't taken them into the photo box to get a good look at them. And they also weren't as colored up whenever I got them. So this one here, obviously you can see the yellow striping, so I kind of have an idea of what I want to pair with her. And yeah, so let's look at a few more. There's quite a bit more, so let's keep going. This next one here is the super vibrant hypogenetic stripe yellow boy. Man, this guy looks amazing. Honestly, I saw pictures of him and I was like, the thing about pictures is you never can go off pictures. Pictures are like the worst thing ever because pictures are always a little bit worse than the actual animal is. And therefore, I prefer to just kind of go with my gut. And I went with my gut on this boy, and this boy obviously did not disappoint. He is very yellow in person. He is very yellow on the camera. This guy looks amazing. So he is, again, a hypo GS, a yellow hypo GS, genetic stripe, and he will be paired to a few females. The problem with my collection right now was I had to get rid of a few adults that were a little bit older, and essentially I got rid of them as pets, and I ended up having to replace some of them. And one of the males that I had was a translucent, and I was trying to get out of translucent. Obviously, I've already said that. And I kept his son. His son was essentially almost exactly the same thing. He was a Hypodunner GS, genetic stripe, and his dad was a Hypo Leatherback Dunner, translucent genetic stripe. So we got rid of the Leatherback, which was probably not what I wanted, but I couldn't find a male to replace him. That was a Leatherback that I actually liked. And so I got one without Leatherback and one without translucent out of the clutch, and that's what I kept. And his mom is still here because his mom was a younger dragon, so I had to replace the dad to be able to pair with the mom of the holdback that I have. So I don't like doing line breeding, so I wasn't going to pair my holdback back to the mom. So I got a different male to make up for that gap there. And I probably have, I want to say 8, maybe 9 females that are that on the yellow side, and I only had one male at the time. So now I have 2. It makes things a little bit easier, and I don't breed every single dragon every single year. So this gives me some spacing and some gaps to breed different yellows next year, then different yellows in 2026 and all of that. So this gives me a little bit of wiggle room essentially in my collection. So I'm not, 1, stressing out the females by breeding every single one of them, and 2, not stressing out the male to breeding him to every single one female. So this gives me a little bit of wiggle room. And now let's go look at other bearded dragons that I got. She is a little bit dulled out. She was under the newspaper, so she's probably not as brightened up as she usually is. But this is another Hypo yellow. She has a little bit of oranges, but not enough for me to say citrus instead of yellow. So this is another female that I got. I got quite a few females, honestly, and only got one male, to be honest, because I only needed one male, but I got quite a few females. So I got this female, and I got 5 other dragons to show you. 4 of those dragons are related to her. They're 100% related to her, and the other one is only half related, so they were from the same dad. So this is, again, a Hypo yellow. She does have she's discolored right now because I just got her out, but you can see in her head, extremely vibrant. So we're gonna put her back and get some of her sisters out. All right, so this one here, obviously you can see it's a little bit more orange than the last one I showed you. So this one I would call a citrus. So the reason, there's different levels of everything. There's yellow, there's citrus orange, there's orange. So this one more so is just a citrus because she still has a lot of yellow. The next, the one that comes from the different mom is actually more of a citrus orange, and I'll show you all that. But essentially, this is a Hypo citrus. Some of these girls had toe nips. I guess they were all kept together when they were little, and they developed toe nips. But it's not anything for me to be considered, not breeder quality. The genetics and the coloration is breeder quality. Obviously, the toe nips is not something that anybody would want, but they have them. I got them for a steal in terms of what happened, that happened. So I'm not going to be complaining about them, but they are really nice. They're pretty massive if you can see it in the camera. So just to show you my hand compared to the dragon, and that's just a torso of the dragon. So I would say these dragons are probably 19 inches or so. Which is average. That's normal. That's not I'm not saying they're, German giant bloodlines like people be doing just because they have a dragon that's 22 or 23 inches long, which is common also. It's uncommon, but it's not rare. So people just honestly label anything as anything just to get it to sell. So that is what we have. Let's go look at the next one. This one here, also pretty dulled out right now, but you can see it in the head, especially in this area right here. Very yellow. She also has some tiger striping going down the sides. So I would call this one a Hypo citrus tiger. So that's what we have here. Obviously, this is not an extreme tiger or anything like that, but you can see that there's a little bit of tigeration coming down the sides there. And again, she's dulled out. So I'm not going based off just the way she looks like right now. I've seen her, heated up. I've seen her cool down. So I'm just going to say for the viewers, this one here actually looks a lot better than she does in the video whenever you see her in her peak of coloration. So this one does not have any toe nips, but she does have a tail nip. So again, you gotta be careful when you are housing babies together. Not so much adults. Adults will fight over food and territory and everything, but they probably 9 times out of 10, they do not cause any physical harm to the dragons. maybe a little bit like of neck biting and everything, but not enough to say that they're gonna, you know, destroy the other bearded dragon. But it's very possible. I said 9 times out of 10. Babies, on the other hand, is usually about 2 times out of 10 that they do not cause harm to the other dragons. So they are a little bit more nippy, and that's why most people say don't house dragons together. But I house females together because females typically are more chill than males. Obviously, males can't be housed together at all because of dominance, and they will definitely kill each other. But you got to be careful with stuff like this whenever they're younger, because younger dragons will definitely take some nips out of other dragons, especially when it comes to territory and food. So I usually wait till they're about this size whenever I start housing them together. And unless they came from the same clutch, then I will raise them up separately till they're about 4 or 5 months. Then I'll put them together, because usually about then they're not as motivated by food as they are whenever they're, you know, fresh hatchlings. But that's besides the point. That's not what this video is about. But again, you just got to be careful and watch out for stuff like that. So here we have another Hypo Citrus Tiger. This one's a little bit more on the orange side, so maybe you can call this one a citrus orange. Not orange enough for me to say that she is orange, but she does have a lot more orange coloration, especially there on the sides, and obviously coming up and down the spine there. But then again, she still has the dull in it. She's still dulled out. It's pretty early. Honestly, the light's probably been on for 20 minutes or so. So some of these dragons are still coming out of their hides and aren't actually basking or anything like that. So they're still pretty dull. But you can see right here in the neck, girl, tripping. Look at that. Scared the crap out of me. You gotta be careful with these dragons, man. But yeah, this one here, you can tell, especially right now in the beard where she's showing you her beard, that she actually is pretty yellow in person whenever she's, you know, warmed up. But obviously she's mad at me right now, so I'm gonna have to be careful not getting her out. So there we go. Let's go look at the next one. All right, another mean one. I guess it's the season to be mean, because you're a mean one. Look at that. Pissed. All right, so this one here is another citrus orange. Hypo. This one actually is more vibrant than the last one I showed you. You can see it, especially in her head. Again, not really colored up, not really warmed up right now. She actually might just be a citrus. She might just be the coloration right now. It's not, but you know, either way, pretty nice looking dragon. There's not much else to say besides that most of these dragons hate me, like I said, and we're just gonna have to work on that as time goes on. But she's already calming down. She has her mouth closed, so that's a good sign. But I bet when I stick my hand in there, she's gonna try to eat it. No, not try to eat it, but she definitely tried to run away. No, never mind. Look at that. Ah, why? Why are you coming in hot already? All right, so this one here is definitely orange, citrus orange, and this is the one that I said is half sisters to the other ones. So again, has some toe nips. This is a adult female. She has actually laid a few infertile clutches this year, from what I was told. So she's a little bit on the skinny side. I've been feeding her as much as I can, as much as she'll eat, to get her weight back up. But this one might be one that I rehome. She's very flighty, has the toe nips. I'm not really sure how I'm going to work on this to get her to be calm, but she's the worst one out of the entire group in terms of attitude. So it's definitely going to be a lot of work. Hopefully I can fix her. If she doesn't get fixed in terms of her attitude, she may just have to stay here, because it's hard to find people that are experienced with all the tude and these dragons, and not just sass. This one actually has anger to her. So it's something we're gonna have to work on, because look, as soon as I put my hand in there, she's the worst one out of all of them. So that's something, like I said, we're gonna have to work on. And I only got one more dragon to show you, so let's go do that, and hopefully I don't lose a finger on in the process. And here we have the last one. This one here is a Hypo Citrus Orange Tiger. Some people would call this a rainbow. I'm not that type of person. I don't do that. So you can see that she has a lot of orange coloration up and down her spine. And then her beard is actually very orange as well. So this one here is definitely a citrus orange. So she's not exactly orange, but she's definitely getting there. So I got to be careful who I pair her to, because I don't want a bunch of orange babies. Obviously, I got all these females for the yellow coloration, so that's what I'm trying to work with. And obviously I got this female because she also has tiger striping. This girl was a secondhand purchase. She originally came from Phantom Dragons. So I know the genetics are good. I know the lineages are good. And she's obviously not a mean dragon either. So I know that she was handled and taken care of before. So that's something that's good already. She's definitely going to be staying here as a breeder. And hopefully we get some babies out of her next year. 2025, hopefully it's going to be the yellow year for me. And maybe I'll throw in a few like Wiblets and Zeros and, you know, make people happy. But, you know, I always say breed for yourself, breed for what you want. So that's what I'm doing. And then if anything else comes out of it, perfectly fine as well, because it is what it is. So as you can see, there was a lot of dragons that I got, and that was just December. I actually only had, what was it? I think I only had one ball python that I got in this December. Or I got two ball pythons in December, but I got a few other snakes. We'll talk about those in the next video. But all of these dragons that I got, as I've already kind of mentioned through the video, is for the yellow projects, for my citrus project. So every single dragon that you saw that's an adult female may or may not be paired in 2026. That one that has been, you know, given eggs already, the infertile eggs this year, she may not be paired because she's on the skinnier side right now, so I have to do work on that. And also I have to figure out if she's going to be mean the entire time or if it's just right now. Because if she's mean the entire time, that's not something I want to breed for. And sometimes personality traits do pass on to the offspring, and I don't want that at all. So I just got to be careful with that. The reason I say that is because I had a male that was pretty, you know, angry all the time. I paired it to a couple females, and about 90% of the babies came out pissed. Every single out of that 90% that I, you know, sold to somebody, they told me that it took them forever to get them to actually calm down. So it does happen. I'm not really sure why that is, to be honest. Personality traits should not be passed on to the offspring, but for some reason it does. And I don't know if it's just maybe like, I don't know, maybe like a mental thing that gets passed on. I don't know what it is, but it just, that's what I've noticed. It's not like that every single time, but it has been, I have seen that happen a couple times, so that's why I have to be careful with that. And so I kind of already mentioned, I have a holdback for 2024. He was like a March or May, something like that. I think it started with the M. And he is already probably 100 grams. So he's a little bit on the smaller side. So maybe by March or May of 2025, he will be bigger, maybe closer to 200 grams. And I can start actually seeing if he's ready to pair or anything. Because usually males are ready to breed a lot sooner. And this is a dragon that I don't want to pass on. I don't want to pass on in terms of breeding. So if he's ready, I'm going to try to take advantage of that, because he is absolutely stunning and absolutely beautiful. So something I want to pass on. And hopefully you guys have seen them before. If not, I'll put a picture of them up. But this is Daffy, by the way, short for daffodil. I've realized all of my yellow dragons now have flower names. Even like there's a Kala, like Kala Lily. There's a Helianthus. There's a Zinnia. There's a Rose. Even though she's not red, there's yellow roses out there. Okay, my wife told me this because she was like, name her Rose, and I'm like, but she's not red. She was like, there's yellow roses. And then she was like, we have yellow roses in our yard. And I was like, holy crap, we sure do. Yeah. So that's where we're at. That's what I'm planning. Those 6 dragons that I got, it was a pretty weird situation because the guy, he had them listed as butterscotch, and there was no genetics listed in Morph Market whatsoever. So I messaged him, asking him questions like, what the parents look like, do they have clear nails, any have them blue bellies or anything like that, and he was unaware of anything. All he could tell me was the parents are on Morph Market for sale as well. They look like they have clear nails, but some of them don't have clear nails, and they don't have blue bellies, blah, 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 and all of them claim with clear nails. And obviously they had dirty nails, so maybe that was the reason he couldn't tell if they were clear nails. But that's essentially what I noticed. And then got here, I unboxed them, and I was like, holy crap, every single one of them is a citrus, hypo citrus. So the pictures were terrible, the genetics weren't there, so I had to kind of guesstimate everything. And by looking at the pictures of the parents, I could tell you that one of them was hypo and the other one could have been hypo. So I didn't know that because you can't tell a het. So I just, in my mind, I was like, if the parent is at least a hypo, then all of these females are het hypo, and I can still use them for my citrus project. And that's the thing about people buying animals at reptile expos and pet stores, is most of these people are just getting them because they are trying to keep pets, and then they realize they want more, and then they accidentally breed them, and then they don't know what genetics come out of the babies. So they don't keep track of the genetics of the parents, they don't keep track of the genetics of the babies, and it just becomes a huge thing. But he showed me pictures, like I said, there were pictures of the parents. They looked not pet quality, so they were pretty nice parents. And I was like, well, dude, the parents are nice, how do you not know what the genetics are? He said, well, I just don't remember. I'm like, well, you know what? Let's figure something out, because I need all these dragons. I honestly didn't want to leave the dragons with him. Not because he was a bad person or anything like that. I just didn't want them being used for bad. So I didn't want somebody, they were essentially pretty cheap, but I didn't want somebody going in and saying, oh, I'll take all 6 of them, and then they just throw all 6 and breed them to one male, and then all of a sudden there's somebody else out there breeding bearded dragons that have no idea what the genetics are, and that's something that just keeps snowballing. Nobody needs that. So I took them because they're better probably in my hands anyways. I can probably work on them a little bit better, especially that one that's aggressive. So that's essentially that was my thought process. If I take them, I can figure out what they are. If they need any help, I can work on them. And if any of them look good enough for breeding purposes or are nice enough for breeding purposes, then I might just keep them, because I kind of have an idea of what the parents' genetics were based off the pictures that I saw. And there was no translucent babies in the clutches. He sent me a couple pictures of those, and that told me one thing: either one parent is het translucent and they're possible het translucent, or neither parent is het translucent and they're not het translucent at all. So that was another thing that led me to get them, is because I'm trying to get translucent out of my citrus dragons. I don't mind if there's some translucents because they still look pretty good, but for the most part, I'm just trying to get as vibrant yellows as possible. And sometimes translucent makes them look green, and that's something that I was trying to get away from. But it's not something that I want to completely get away from. That's why I still have a translucent female. And what else? So that's essentially, I think, everything. So I think that's everything. So with that said, that was all of the dragons that I got in December 2024, and I think this is going to be all the dragons I get for the rest of 2025 as well. I don't really have any plans for any new dragons, and there's everything that I have right now is either almost ready to breed or getting there, or already proven breeders. So it's not anything that I'm looking for right now, and therefore I think that my collection is pretty much at a standstill in terms of adding new things, and I'm going to work solely on adding maybe more hognoses to the collection. I need to get my male hognose is still tiny. He's probably like 40 grams, and some people say you can start breeding them around 40-50 grams, which is absurd, because I'm looking at my females, which are 150 grams, 200 grams, and I'm like, how is he supposed to breed to that? They're gonna eat him. Like, he looks like a little piece of worm. He don't even look like the whole worm. He looks like a piece of a worm. It's crazy. So that's something I have to figure out, because I do want to produce hognoses in 2025. That was my goal. Start buying hognoses in 2023, produce them by 2025, because usually it takes the males 2 years to breed, and I already had adult females. So that's something that I was working towards, and doesn't look like it's gonna happen with the male that I got. So I might have to buy another male, which is fine, I guess. But we'll talk about the snakes that I got in December 2024 in the next video. So with that said, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything that I put out in the future. As always, peace.